Ron is also the Enterococcus faecium or facial. Is the also in this list?
If you cannot find it, that's why, because I'm interested in the Hulda-Clark method. Hulda-Clark is HC section of the database
Mhm.
and KHZ. That's also from Hulda-Clark. But the thing is, the streptococcal infections from Hulda-Clark is integral because it gives us normally 10 frequencies in one program. But if you add here a wobble, yeah, it captures the frequency, but little bit around. Why is that? It has two effects. First of all, the bacterium listens to the frequency, yeah, and he can adapt it to it. And if you change the frequency, he's not able to follow. Another one is that your streptococcus is not exactly the same as the streptococcus inside someone else. Why is that? Because they make variations, they make mutants, they make different structures because bacteria are very easily reproducing mutations. They pick up DNA from the environment. They change in the flow of time. That's why the program has 10 individual frequencies. But if I add an harmonic wobble to it, I capture also the deviations between the types. So, I mean, my streptococcus is not your streptococcus. It's impossible. Yeah, although they capture, let's say, Staphylococcus aureus. Yeah, but not every Streptococcus aureus is the same as another. Like people are always individual. Yeah, the home address in one street is only one single number. Yeah, but if you do not know the number, you have the street, and then you have the number, um, and take a look of all the possible numbers, and then you find in every case that that number was seen and adjusted. Yeah, it runs over the ideal frequency. So in my case, it's always better to use, in case of doubt, please use the wobble. Yeah, so there is a database, enormous database, I must admit it. Yeah, and it grows with every update because this is already an older picture. Here the RRMD database says 14,000. I believe that we just saw 19,000. So 10,000 for RRM and RRMD is 10,000. Yeah, 10,679. So the database is large. Yeah, so RRMD gives us the therapeutical frequencies of any component, any chemical component, any hormone, supplement, whatever. And I must admit that is effective. Then we come to know, how do we do a test? Well, in the past, I did always test with electroacupuncture. But in many cases, I have to test on a blood sample. And the patient is not in the room, but I have his blood sample because I have also a microscope and I have microscope slides. And the glass strips are the slides, and there is a single blood drop of the patient on the piece of glass. So then I test with a tensor. I simply connect a coil. The coil is connected to the generator, and the generator runs the program. I do the following, just as a demonstration. Yeah, so okay, settings. No wobble. Okay, then it runs and it says 90 seconds per frequency in this case. Yeah, and with the arrow up and down, you can run all the frequencies individually. So if I run 150 and I found, yes, this frequency is positive. Yes, this frequency is positive. Yes, this frequency is positive. What was interesting to see that if I test a Hulda-Clark program, 10 frequencies are positive 10 out of 10. Imagine, Hulda-Clark did test very thoroughly all the bacteria and programs that she published. Okay, that means if you have here someone with Streptococcus, I'm sure that this program will work. Yeah, but for the effective variations, yeah, here in the settings, I find here a wobble to make things more effective. Okay, imagine that I found here not RRMD, but here Streptococcus. Yep, and then ATDFL, which is also a very famous list of programs. Then here I find here streptococcal infections. Okay, so I thought to myself, which of the two is the best? I have here KHZ, and I make a match between KHZ and ETDF. Yeah, so this is another section in the database. Okay, override. And then you can start here. And then you can positive, 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 positive. I found Hulda Clark, 10 frequencies in the program, all 10 are positive. But the ETDF, you see here in the line, it steps over to the other program. Here, some is positive, some is negative. Yeah. So I make a list of both programs. I pick a piece of paper and I write the frequencies on a piece of paper. Every single frequency that is positive will be noted. Okay, and at the end, I have 90 seconds to do a test. Yeah, but the test will take only a few seconds. Yeah, and then I run through the test. Then I found the positive frequencies. And from KHZ, I found all the frequencies positive. And then from ETDF, maybe 6 out of 10 is positive. So that means somebody did a good work because 6 is more than nothing. So he found positive frequencies for the patient, but not every patient is the same. And not every streptococcus is the same. But admit that even if I find 6 frequencies that are positive out of 10, if I do not know and I cannot test, simply run the program. So there are 4 frequencies that did not do the job. Whatever. 4 times 90 seconds lost. Whatever. No big deal. Yeah. But the thing is, if you do not know if it is a streptococcus, that's the big thing. Yeah. So if you have the tensor in your home, you have here the setup. You can see here, this is my tensor. Yeah. This is the tensor. Yeah, so this is the ring. Yeah, and then the tensor dances up and down. Yeah, and if there is a resonant frequency between the coil and the blood drop, then it starts to deviate. Yeah, between the two. Next frequency dances up and down, negative. Next frequency runs left to right, then there is resonance between the two. Yeah, and that is for me a big trick to find frequencies that are effective, although that patient is not in the room. And then in the beginning, I didn't trust it. So I found frequencies on a patient, and then after finding frequencies remotely on the drop of blood, I asked the patient to come again and put him in the chair and do a test with electroacupuncture. And to my stupid recognition, I found identical frequencies. So yeah, whatever. Some will say you followed your own nose. Yeah, but there is no other way to do a test on a drop of blood because the patient is not there. And I must admit that all the remote functions, I simply put the slide with the drop of blood inside the remote. Yeah, so here the coil is connected here. Here is generator 1. Yeah, and if I found here the frequencies, I put the slide here in generator 2. Yeah, and then I run the frequencies there. Yeah. Okay. Questions so far? No.
Is the transfer you use standard equipment or something you created yourself?
Well, this is kind of fix.
Okay.
Yeah, you cannot make any mistake. Any coil will do.
Okay. Any spiral will do as well.
Oh yes, of course. Even if you take an old remote and pick only one coil from the remote.
Okay.
Thing is that the remote has a magnet inside.
Now I have a spiral with 20 centimeters diameter. That should do it then.
Oh, it will be fine.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Anything that is connecting to a coil will work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if you connect only the red cable, will also work.
Yeah.
Even if you omit the black cable, it will work. Yeah, because
Oh.
like an antenna, an FM
Yeah,
antenna.
yeah. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you have no coil, but a copper plate is also enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because the copper plate itself, if you connect the cable to a red cable and put it on the positive side of the connector,
Yeah.
Spooky sends the accessories with a connecting cable. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I have here a kinch cable and that ending up with two crocodile connectors.
I see.
Yeah. And even if you have a simple sheet of metal, please hook the crocodile connector on the piece of metal and you can do the trick.
Yeah. As I said, I have a spiral, so that should be fine.
Even if you then have no coil, it will still work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I tried also different coils and they did all work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then I thought to myself, well, maybe I don't need a coil. And even then,
Perhaps, yeah.
why? I can't tell, but it did the trick.
Uh-huh.
Ron?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's already said, but when you have a coil in the middle connected so that you have one thread, is that better than that the two coils go parallel in each other and not connected? Is
Does it
that
make any difference.
No difference, eh?
I have several fractal antennas. I tested them all, but they all did the trick.
Okay, and when they are two wires connected and there's a shortcut, that's not, hoe zeg je dat? Het signaal uitdooft? Of how do you say in English?
No. If it is a hairpin coil, it will still work.
Okay.
Why is that? Because the counter are working. Yeah, I will explain that in more detail.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Just take a look at here, this drawing. If you have here an electron running, what is then the field? It has here a circular field. So this one is magnetic and this one is electric. So if you have two wires that work in the same direction, yeah, is you have the same field, yeah, and then together they form a large field. Yeah, you understand? Okay. The question of Hans was, will the bifilar coil will work anyway? Yes. So if the other one is going away, yeah, from left to right, so then this one goes that way, but the other one goes the opposite direction. So the magnetic field is gone. So the magnetic field is gone. Why could it still have the effect then? Because the energy is electromagnetic field plus scalar. Yeah, I explained that in the scalar course. So this is the energy. Yeah, and that is electrical energy plus scalar waves. So if this one is having both, it's a mixture. Let's say it is, let's say 80% EMF radiation and then plus 20%. Why is that? Because the energy needs to split up between the two parts. But if you have here a counter effect and the EMF is cancelled, where does the energy goes? Yeah, if this one is 0%, or let's say 10%, yeah, then the scalar part will go to 90% and still effective, although very difficult to measure. I hope that this is the answer on your question, Hans. Yeah, because
Yes, that is my answer. Yeah.
and that's also the reason, if you have a mobile phone, why is the antenna built into the phone? Because the antenna is maybe 2 by 2 centimeters. Well, this is impossible to have a connection on 5 kilometers to the sender. Well, that is ridiculously small. Why is that? Because this is the case that the small fractal antennas will reduce in this way. Yeah. So this is here. What is a fractal antenna? Yeah. So a fractal antenna has a specific orientation around a geometric mathematical way of creating an antenna. That means it goes to left and right, to left and right. So it is, in this case, the opposite as multiplying the field, but distracting the field. Yeah, so this is the way, this is a fractal antenna. And this one is a normal coil. Okay, so that is the reason. Normally, in the past, if you have a mobile phone and you are in a tunnel or inside a car or inside a train or inside the building, there was no signal. Why do we have here signal inside the building, inside the car, inside the train, or even inside the tunnel? Because this is reduced while this one is improved. And they don't admit that it is scalar. They don't know that it is scalar. But that is related to the books of Constantine Meyer. Yeah, I will calculate that for you next time. And that is the reason why you are able to build a very, very small antenna of 2 by 2 centimeters and then have a connection all over the world. Because the antenna multiplies itself by the fractal design. Although it looks the opposite.
Yeah, and the scalar has special qualities that nothing can stop it. So,
Exactly, because scalar waves is penetrating metal. Yeah, while the EMF is shielded by the Faraday cage. Okay, something else, and that is especially developed by me, because I did learn something from a therapist in Germany. His name was here Mr. Baklian. Mr. Baklian is a therapist around the city of Munich, and I did follow all his courses. And he says something that was still singing in my mind after maybe 10 to 15 years. He says, if you have a patient and are not able to test the person because he is blocked, please take a zapper and put 5 to 8 minutes and put him on 3.6 hertz. And after 5 or 8 minutes, the patient is being tested again, and it looks like if a door is opening. I can take a test and find all the positive frequencies or the negative frequencies that he is suffering from. So I said to myself, what is happening with that 3.6 hertz? And he says, well, it opens the cellular membrane. Okay, imagine that a cell, yeah, this is a cell, and the frequencies is coming in, but it is blocked by the membrane of the cell. How to penetrate the cell? Because if you have here the frequency of 3.6, it could then enter the cell. Okay, so I had that in mind. And in a later course, in an update, he said, I found a second digit to improve the effectiveness of the 3.6. But he didn't say what frequency. So I said to myself, maybe I can find it myself. And I found here the first frequency, 3.63. Okay, that is important. 363. Keep that in mind. 363. I will explain that later. Well, I found also effective a list on Shumann frequencies. Yeah. Let's take a look. Program Shumann. Okay. Okay, Shumann frequencies. So, okay, I said to myself, well, there are more than only single frequencies for the Shumann waves. Okay, what are Shumann waves? Shumann waves are frequencies related to the atmospheric circumstances of the Earth. Okay, Shumann it says here 7.83. Okay, why is that important? Because it opens something in my system. Okay, why Shumann? It is related to the earth. So if you are a patient and you see that somebody is stressed, you can say, let's say, with the head in the air. Okay, bring him down to earth. It's not always good to have your head in the clouds. Bring your feet on the air, on the earth. So it was a good practice to go bare feet in the wet grass on a sunny morning. Then you are earthed, because in the earth the electrons are on the crust. Okay. Yeah, so if you see here, I will pick blue. Okay, this is the earth. Yeah, and this is the cloud. Yeah, and sometimes there is lightning. Okay, so here are the electrons. So this is negative. That means in the atmosphere it is positive. Okay. Imagine, please read the book, The Body Electric. It says that any regeneration process starts always with electrons. So I need electrons. Where can I find electrons that are free? Walk with the bare feet in the grass, because the earth is negative and the electrons are negative. So the overdoses of electrons is down on my feet. So please keep that in mind. Okay, so I said here 7.3. That's also a Shumann frequency. That's very important. But there are multiple Shumann frequencies. I found 14.13, 20.34, 27.27, 33.84. So I made a program out of it. And I show you my program. So this one, customized, prerun. This is my list. Prerun intracellular membrane resonance, 3.63, 7.83, 14.13, 20.31, 34, 27.27 and 33.84. And I explain why this is important. So I put 10 seconds per frequency in the program. Okay. First of all, what are Shumann frequencies? These are related to the electro atmospheric substances in the Earth. So there is a fundamental frequency, but a second order and a third order, fourth order, etc. So there are higher orders. You compare that with higher tones. Yeah, every instrument has a bass tone plus higher frequencies. Yeah. So if you have a guitar, the basic frequency is maybe the note A, 440 hertz, but many frequencies run in the upper section. Yeah, 880, etc. So that's the same with the frequencies of the atmosphere, the Earth. The Shumann frequencies resonate on the fundamental frequencies plus third, second order, third order, fourth order, etc. And I found here in the theory of Nikola Tesla that he says if you understand something about resonance and health, it is all about 369. Okay. So the basic frequency of Shumann that was invented by Baklian, it says 3.63. it is 3, 6, 9. So 3 and 6 is 9. Yeah. So 3 plus 6 together is 9. Okay. So this is a triangle that resonates. So 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, 1. So this is returning up and down. But the most influential numbers, according to Tesla, is 3, 6, and 9. So I calculated all those numbers according to Tesla. Yeah. So 3, 6, 3. 7.83 is 7 plus 3 is 10 plus 8 is 7.83. That is here 7 plus 8 is 15 plus 3 is 18. Yeah, 1 plus 8 is 9. So the basic frequency of 7.83 is 9. So I recalculated all those numbers according to the Tesla numbers. So please see here 1, 4, 1, 3, 14. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. Yeah, etc., etc. So I found that if you make programs, especially on all the numbers that Tesla did invent, the effectiveness is somewhat improved. I have to admit that. Why is that? Because this one is the Baklian frequency. And he says that is related to opening the cellular membrane. Okay, then I thought to myself, why are the low frequencies inside the cell then effective? The cell itself must have a high frequency, yeah, but it is completely filled with a gel structure. Water plus gelatin makes a gel, and that is resisting into frequencies. Yeah, so it is just like jelly pudding. Yeah, the frequency that the jelly pudding can resonate is always slow because the molecular bindings inside the structure is strong. So I said to myself, what is the next step inside the cell? And then I tried to find with ChatGPT the sizes of the membranes of the organelles inside the cell. Okay, inside the cell, there is a membrane. That is the membrane outside. But there is a nucleus that is 7.3. Then the mitochondria. Yeah, and then the lysosomes, Golgi apparatus, and reticulums. Okay. So these frequencies are in the following order of the sizes of the organelle. Yeah. And that is important. So the smaller the organelle, the higher the frequency. Yeah. So this is my conclusion. It is a hypothesis that is not scientific, but to me it is a way of thinking about influencing intracellular structures. Yeah, so this is intracellular. And I must admit that if I run a program on 3.6, that is improving the effect of the frequencies that come in the second stage. But if I run the whole program, it is penetrating the signal not only inside the cell, but also inside the organelle, the internal structure of the cellular machines. And that's interesting. Okay. Questions so far? This
So-
is totally new. I know that. It was also new to me.
So insulin resistance occurs because the cell membrane is no longer sensitive to the peptide of insulin. So you must be able to apply this to increase the sensitivity of the cell wall to insulin so that insulin can get, so that sugar can be carried into the intracellular environment of the cell.
Right. So if you bring, before the peptides, if you bring the cellular structure into vibration, it is easier for the cell to accept the frequencies inside the cell.
So have you been able to treat insulin resistance?
Well, I would like to give you something as a case. In this case, it was not a diabetes case, but in this case, somebody was, after the removal of the uterus, suffering from prolapse. And many ladies have the same problem. In this case, you see here that there's always connective tissue. Around the whole infrastructure of the belly. So the uterus must be tightly made to a solid structure. Otherwise, if you go to sports or jumping up and down, otherwise all the organs would rupture itself because they are dancing inside your belly, which is not possible because you wouldn't survive it. So there must be a very solid structure to keep all the organs in its place. And then you go to surgery. Yeah, most ladies, when they are 50 years old, they have problems with the uterus, and then they take away the uterus. Okay, but here you can see that in some cases, the weight of the uterus, if there is a tumor, the weight is pressing on the urine bladder. That's a problem because they use involuntary, they lose the involuntary urine flow. In some cases, this one is the intestines. They are also having weight on the body, maybe on the vagina, maybe on the anus, maybe on the bladder, or on the urine vessel. So in some cases, after hysterectomy, the ladies have suffering from urine retention, maybe constipation, because if you have a prolapse of the anus, it is nearly blocked. And from time to time, you have to lay on your back before you can go to the toilet. Or maybe the rectum prolapse here is pressing here in this way. That is difficult. So I have seen a few ladies with the prolapse in different conditions. So I thought to myself, how would I be possible to make a program that will help them? And I must admit that this is the complete cyclus. The complete cyclus is, first step, do my pre-run. And then, if you do not know what is the best program, take them all four. Yeah. These are four. Yeah. These are 8 ATF. And these are peptides. It is possible to run that from the memory of the generator X. Okay, why is that? Because there is a limit of 200 frequencies in one single program. So you can split it up in multiple programs, but you have to switch or step over to the next program in the next step manually. So Peptides. Let's take a look at the Peptides. Okay. We go to presets. Just from the beginning. JW Peptides. Then go to remote. And then here type roll-up. Okay, you see here the valve from the heart, but in this case this is not suitable. Okay, I said to myself, well, I have here 10 for organ prolapse post-hysterectomy, rectal prolapse, or urine prolapse. How to combine them in one single program? Okay, I do the following. I go to programs. Okay, I see here the list of elements. Yeah, this is the list of all those different peptides. 10 peptides in one single program. Okay, I do the following. Go to control, so programs, sorry. Programs. Then combine the program as a single program. Copy. Paste. You see here that the dwell parameter is 1 single second. Okay, save it. Yes. Next step. Rectal prolapse. Yeah. Programs. Peptides. Rectal prolapse. Okay. Next step. Uterine prolapse. And save. Okay, these last 3 is what I did save. 1, 2, 3. Then check what is the time. Control, override. Three hours. Well, depending on the situation, I think that 3 hours is reasonably long. And then you can ask the patient, let's take a start with if you did lose your uterus in the hysterectomy, maybe what is your biggest problem? Is that your stool or your urine? And if somebody says, I have problems with the stool, you take urine or maybe rectal. Yeah? This is for the stool. Let's take a look. .20 minutes, 2 hours. But I have here also the program for prerun. I put here a dwell of 10 seconds. Okay, but I put him on top of the list. Let's imagine that we take only one single program. Then it will take 15 minutes. What did I do in the programs? I pick all the prolapse programs from the list. Yeah, let's take a look if I have here ETDFL and I omit this one. I see here these programs, anus prolapse, yeah, hernia disc, rectal prolapse, uterine prolapse, vaginal prolapse. And it gives me 10 frequencies per program. And I did show you how to test which program is effective and inside the program, which frequency inside the program is effective. Yeah, so I did take a look with my tensor. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. So I did a test and I did write on a piece of paper any frequency that tested me positive. And I did omit all the frequencies that have no effect. Yeah. And then is here here is this one customized. Yeah, you see here in this case it's all the frequencies but on a specific time schedule. Let's take a look. You see here, I made a list of all those frequencies, but I made Tesla numbers of it. Yeah. Simply by taking a look if it is okay. If you do not want it, please set a wobble on it. Then if it is no Tesla number or what, then it will work anyway. Yeah, so I took all the frequencies that were positive tested from anal, vaginal, and cystocele. Yeah, all those programs, but I tick here on a specific time schedule. Let's say I change that in, let's say, 10 seconds. Ready? Yes. Save? Yes. Refresh database. Yep, and then, okay. Okay, let's take a look how it will work. It's 19 minutes. Why is that? Because I give any frequency a very short time dwell, not more than 10 seconds. But the peptides get 1 second. So that is what I did learn from the music. So short notes stimulate, longer notes inhibit. And of course, the prolapse, if it is a prolapse program, it needs to be inhibited, while the peptides needs to be activated. Yeah, so the prerun gets 10, but the frequencies of the peptides get only 1 single second, short notes. But prerun gets longer notes. Yeah, and here the prolapse program gets only 10 seconds per frequency. Okay, so it is 19 seconds altogether, but it's only one single run. Let's take a look if I upsize to 8 runs in a single program. Then it runs for 2.32 minutes, 2.5 hours. So in my opinion, that is reasonable. You could shorten up, let's say, to 5 cycles, but you can run also 2 or 10, which is pretty standard. Yeah, if I do according to the standards, it will run for 3 hours and 10 minutes. And then I started the program. And I know from practice that she notifies the change in 2 hours. Yeah. And that for me is important because I want to make things go fast. And it runs only on a drop of blood on a remote. Yeah. Just by making my own dedicated program. If you don't know how to make a dedicated program, simply run all the programs that they are. It will work. Costs you only more time. Yeah, because many frequencies maybe have no effect, cost you time, but don't hurt. Yeah. The nice thing is that the rest, if it does do effect, yeah, and then it helps the patient. Yeah, so I must admit that the peptide doesn't make a difference. Yeah, and I can see immediately a change after, let's say, 30 minutes to maybe 2 hours, that the patient says, hey, there's something happening, although it is a single drop of blood inside a remote.
So I have a question about that. The patient's problem is resolved or partially resolved as a result of the treatment. What has happened inside the body to cause the resolution of the problem? She has grown more connective tissue to support her internal organs, or the pelvic floor muscles have become stronger, or what's happened?
Must be, yes, because she had problems of not going to the toilet. She feels pressure on the water, but cannot lose it. It's nearly the same of the prostate area with old men. They go to the toilet because they need the urge to do the urine flow, but it never comes because the flow is blocked. And if I run 2 hours for this program, she can go to the toilet.
And so she can pass her urine without any difficulty.
Yeah.
So often the problem, another problem is urinary incontinence as following hysterectomy.
Okay, didn't take a look at it. Urine retention.
Incontinence, urinary incontinence there. Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. There you go.
Okay. 10 peptides. Copy. Paste. Okay. So first of all, I do the pre-run. That's one. Okay, let's take a look. It says it runs for 50 minutes. Maybe there's another program that is able to do the trick.
Yeah, I see. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, there, I see nocturia, overactive bladder issues can also be addressed. I see.
Here, this program.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I would suggest that you do here a test on those programs. Well, you can do it like this way, because it says here 15 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frequencies. So that's 3 minutes per frequency. That is reasonably long. So I do this one. 10 seconds. Yes. And then this one is way, then this one. Also 10 seconds. That was the case. Yeah, so we had urine incontinence. Programs. Yeah, customized.
Hmm?
1, 2, 3. Custom. Prerun. And start with that. Runs for 1 hour 14 minutes, which for me is quite okay.
So, generally speaking, with any conditions, for example, as I mentioned earlier, say insulin resistance, I would just consult the list that has already been developed and select insulin resistance.
Yeah. Okay, let's take a look. This is the peptides.
Insulin receptor.
Yeah, this one.
Insulin correction or remote impaired.
For diabetes.
Yes, sure. I'll just go straight to type 2. Well, type 2 diabetes.
The standard way of running those peptides is this way. Simply go to diabetes, tuck, make a chain. Another one is resistance.
So you mentioned earlier that the frequency of 3.63 hertz opens the cell membrane.
Yep. So
And so,
it
yeah,
brings your membrane in vibration.
so insulin has in diabetes type 2, the membrane of cells no longer recognizes the insulin that carries glucose across the cell membrane. It won't open in response to the
Mhm.
huh? Insulin receptor that binds to the site. Just
I will explain that. This is the question.
yeah, okay.
Normally, if somebody is on the right side, he has multiple receptors on every single cell. So the amount of insulin is not high. Why not? Because every insulin could be touched by the receptor. But if somebody is resistant, all his receptors are down-regulated. Then he moves to the left side. What can you see there?
Yes.
A lower amount of receptors. Then the amount of insulin needs to be explosively high to touch the only receptor that still is effective.
Yes.
So the only thing that you can do is try to go from left to right, upregulate the amount of receptors. The thing is, however, if you are so bad that the doctor gives you the shots of insulin daily, what does the pancreas then thinks? Oh, that's easy. I do not have to work so hard because there is already so much insulin. And then it downregulates further and further.
Yeah.
And then the doctor says, oh, this concentration is not enough anymore. We upsize the doses. And then it is still a little bit effective. And then the doctor thinks he's right. But it downregulates and downregulates and downregulates. And then upsize the doses. That's the other way around of thinking. What I would like to see is there any trick to create more receptors? Because a very low amount of insulin would be enough then. Because every touch was bingo. Do you
All
understand?
right. Yeah, yes, I'm just trying to relate that to what you have said about the 3.63 hertz opening the cellular membrane.
Yeah. So if you open the cellular membrane, then you penetrate with the frequencies inside the cellular mechanism, and the cellular mechanism could be triggered to produce more of those peptides because the peptides are also a receptor. Normally, nearly all the receptors are proteins inside the double bilipid layer.
Yes. Okay.
So the better that you produce the receptor proteins, yeah, that is why we produce here the peptide opportunities of here these programs. I
Yeah.
don't have any physical success with a specific patient, but I would suggest that this is the way to go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
active the
I
process.
mean, you should have no difficulty finding patients with insulin resistance.
Well, I do not have a practice anymore since 5 years.
Okay. Well,
because I'm already 73 years old. Still going strong.
All right. Thank you so much for that.
I will show you what I did for myself.
Yes, do you have insulin resistance?
No. When I was on the fitness gym, I discussed there with some guys, do you use any peptides, hormones, supplements, whatever? So some guy gave me a list of all the things that they did use. Well, what I have in mind, in our village, one village in the neighborhood, there is a guy of 87 years old, and he did won the competition of powerlifting.
Well,
87, and he was in the newspapers winning the competition for powerlifting. And I thought to myself, oh, I will be the next one.
yes, you need to ask him what peptides did he take to help him?
No, I did this trick. Okay, so there is here a trick for bodybuilding.
Okay.
There's here a trick for muscle regeneration. Increase muscle mass. Okay, so I did the following. Okay, increase muscle mass. 1 single second. Copy.
It's
Okay.
funny that is also then increasing your growth of your hair.
Yeah.
Combination. Okay.
Who knows? Okay. Next step. Bodybuilding.
Now, I'm very interested in this because I'm trying to put muscle back on that I have lost
Yeah.
due to age. And one of the reasons we lose muscle as we get older is that our production of growth hormone drops.
Peptides. Bodybuilding. Copy. Ah. So, Peptides bodybuilding. Okay. Then I do the following. Prerun. That's number 1. And then muscle. Muscle mass. And no, it's okay for now. And then take a look. 1 hour, 3 minutes. Okay. Let's put strength also. 1 hour, 20 minutes. The thing is, here the peptides are inside the cellular structures. Let's say, where is the production site of the peptide? Maybe you remember that. It's inside the reticulum, inside the ribosome.
I see. Yes. Okay.
So I need to open the cellular wall. I need to open the nucleus because I need to read DNA. I need to open the house for the ribosomes. and then transport, and then folding, etc. All those processes are linked up together. It cannot work. The chain is as strong as the weakest chain.
As the weakest link, yes.
Okay. And I must admit that I became, I think, 20 to 30% stronger since 4 months
Okay.
that I did run. Let's say this runs 1 hour to 20 minutes. I leave it running for, let's say, 6 hours a day. And then maybe next day something else. And then on the third day, this program again. And I must admit that it feels effective. At least I can see if I do the bench press, I can still take 100 kilos.
Okay. And then how many times your body weight is that? Is half your body weight or kilos?
I am
100 kilos. Oh, yeah. So that's 2.2 times. Oh, my goodness. That's a lot. That's heavy.
I am 6'4"
Yeah.
and 88 kilos.
So it's
And I do bench press with 100 kilos since a few months.
so how do you treat the post-exercise muscle pain? Because that's one of the things limiting me. Also, a weak core.
Please take a look. Muscle regeneration. Yeah. Type also anti or aging. Here, aging joints, shoulders, ligaments, anti-aging, fibroblast, important for connective tissue, longevity, reverse aging.
Yes.
There's a plenty of all those different peptide ranges.
And then I've been taking it's called retatrutide, which is in the class of drugs like Ozempic. I would rather not take that anymore. Can I possibly use your obesity program? There we go.
Yeah, here there is a tirzepatide. I know a
Yeah.
lady, she did buy the tirzepatide. And she says, it helps me to get slimmer, somewhat weight loss, especially on the belly.
So, yeah, minus the side effects like diarrhea, nausea, and vomiting that the injected peptides do sometimes cause.
Yeah, that's true. And that is the same for frequencies. Not that strong as the physical contact, because frequencies do not give the body chemical load. So if you have here, let's say, any medicine from the pharmaceutical industry, it always comes with dilution material, antioxidants,
Yes,
conservatives.
right.
So
There's a
one
carrier mechanism. Yes.
is a multitude of chemical components, which is not the case with the frequency range, because it is a single frequency. So you do not have the load on the stress of the liver and the kidneys compared to the physical medication. But I noticed that was very interesting. I never heard of type 3 diabetes.
Oh yes, that's in the brain, and it's
Yep.
It's presumed to be related to Alzheimer's, cause of Alzheimer's.
Yep. So I did say nothing to my wife because what is here, it says here, inflammation in neuronal cells,
Yes, yes,
metabolism. And I
yes.
thought, well, maybe let's try. We know nothing, but let's try it. So I started to run the program type 3 diabetes, and within 20 minutes, I have to stop it. She said, I feel so dizzy. I'm already up to vomiting. So immediately I did stop it.
Yes.
Okay, maybe I find some way to treat it this way, to do individual testing for every individual peptide. But it cost me so much time. So I'm not that far in at this moment. But maybe what I have in mind, I've seen a list. The list is in the book. Yeah. So I showed you the book here itself. It
Yeah.
is a book of 2,500 pages.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would like to have a way of testing every individual peptide to make one single composition for one single person. Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah, but then I have to select from condition links. Yeah, I do not see then to run the whole list to find 5 frequencies. That would be stupid. So you are related to the list that was already offered in the book, and simply type here one single word that you are interested in, and then you get a whole list of all the things that are related. But for me, what I did try to do is to shorten the standard programs down to 10 seconds per individual frequency. Why is that? Because I want to integrate the standard frequencies together with the peptides. Yeah, and I showed you. So this is the slide. Here, the peptides is the things that I want to combine. Why is that? Peptides are effective, but maybe there are also effective frequencies in programs that are already listed from the old school. Because I'm working with Spooky since 2015. I think I was one of the early adopters in the Netherlands.
Ron, I have a question on the old school. Usually it's 3 minutes, and now you're reducing this to 10 seconds. Do you find it still efficient, or
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you use even without the peptides, would you go down as fast for every case down to 10 seconds or not?
Yeah, why is that? Because sometimes all those programs here have 4 programs of 30 minutes, which is already 2 hours.
Yeah. Myself, I didn't hesitate to divide the time by 3, but never by 10. That's all.
Yeah, that was also new to me because I did only this trick to integrate.
Yeah, I see. So I didn't go far enough. I tried three divided by 3, but I never tried divide by 10, but I will now.
Yeah.
Because by 3 it works very well. I didn't notice any difference.
Yeah. But the standard way of running the program for peptides is repeat each program 10 times.
Yeah, that's right. And then follow up, and then you follow with the old ones by
Even
10
if I
seconds.
downsize the running standard time of 3 minutes down to 10 seconds, then it runs 10 times 10 seconds, which is 100 seconds.
Yeah, actually, that's what I also, well, that's what I do actually almost. That's half, half 180. Yeah.
In your wife's case, what do you suppose caused her nausea?
Probably I did trigger some insulin reaction.
Insulin.
Because
So,
if you read the explanation, type 3, here it says mitochondrial activation. Here, neurotrophic, microtubuli, ACTH. So it is hormone related.
so does she have, do you know she has dementia from Alzheimer's?
Not known, but I saw that she got some small overweight since she was after the menopause.
Yes.
So I was trying to find anything to flatten the belly again. That's the thing.
So you were,
I'm not at this moment successful, but I'm on my way, so to say. It is the improvement is small but visible.
but why did you choose to treat for type 3 diabetes versus type 2?
Well, she has no diabetes.
Yes.
But I did try to do the diabetes prevention, and that is already bringing some improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I like to do experiments. And one of the things that I do not do is explain to her what I did. Afterwards, I ask, did you have any sensations? What did you do again? And then I explain her afterwards. Yeah, because he likes to see the explanation why there was an improvement. Yeah, so she is my best guinea pig.
Well, okay.
I like her very much that we go together to the gym because her legs are stronger than mine.
Well, that's true about women. Their lower body is stronger. Men
She
have
still, she
stronger
still,
upper bodies.
she still does the squats with 80 kilos.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so by experimenting, sometimes you find your way, and that goes for every student. If you are in doubt, please ask. Send me an email. You find my way to the website. Fill in the contact page, whatever. So, any questions so far for other students?
Yes, I have another question. I just want to buy some other things from Spooky. What I just have a doubt between the scalar and the plasma tube. Which one is effective?
The good thing is that the scalar boxes are multiple purpose. The best thing for the plasma device is suppressing a pathogen or maybe suppressing someone with a tumor.
You cannot treat tumors with scalar?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
The only important difference is that the scalar boxes give the patients also an energy boost. So you can do multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you can do nothing extra. Simply connect the two boxes and sit between the antennas. There's always a signal. So if you are here in the middle of the scalar field, even in case you do nothing extra, there is already an enormous influence on the whole body.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, let's say somebody suffers from electrical smog. Yeah, you can detox yourself.
Okay.
As extra, you can put on here on the platform a vitamin C, whatever. You can here imprint water or maybe an alcohol ampoule. Yeah. And then I can run a program. If you run a program, at the first moment in 2020, I was not able to have any ampoule related to coronavirus. But there was a program on Spooky with coronavirus. Very simple. Okay, so I did the following. At that time, I had only this one, coronavirus infections. That was the only program that was available at that time in 2020. So I did the following. I was uploaded the frequencies in an alcohol ampoule. Yeah, and then you put the alcohol ampoule here. And then you can switch off the generator and use the ampoule on. Yeah, so this is running extra energy. The first impression that I ever had with the scalar field, that someone was bringing his wife for a test. And I said to him, do I need to do a test for you also? Do you suffer from something? No, he said, I'm fine. Oh, yeah, oh, for one example, he said, I have a stiff shoulder. Yeah, I cannot lift my left shoulder not higher than 10 centimeters. Yeah, which is a frozen shoulder. So I said to him, well, please sit on this chair. And I start my program. Frozen shoulder. Yeah, there was one program for 18 minutes. Yeah, so I did run 18 minutes this program. So I asked him, please sit down in this chair for 20 minutes. And when I come back, I will ask you how it goes. So I asked him, did you have any sensations in the shoulder? No, he said. Please try to lift your arm then. Yoing, yoing. 360 degrees. Okay. I saw the man 3 months later and I asked him, how's your shoulder? Oh, top. Yeah, but the doctor himself, he was not able to do anything on it. He had, I think, 2 or 3 times a cortisone shot in the shoulder, held for 2 days, and then pain again. Completely frozen. But this way of working was done in 80 minutes.
Yeah, but when you want to treat cancer patients, you cannot use the scalar. But
oh yes, you can. The only thing is that it costs more time.
Yeah, but okay, but that would be okay. And what about I have someone with how do you say that, Graves?
Ziekte van Graves.
Yeah,
Graves' disease, yeah, thyroid.
Graves with thyroid.
Can you do anything with the remote or yeah?
Oh yes.
Or is it better to use the scalar boxes? That's faster, I think. But
I would suggest that remote is you need a time factor of 100. Scalar box is a time factor of let's say 5, and a plasma device of only 1. Very short time, very effective. But the thing is that the scalar boxes are more multiple treating methods, because I'm very fond of this way of thinking. Yeah, so I thought to myself, let's take a look if imprinting the water alone is also enough. So I was having a dizzy feeling in my stomach, and I imprinted the Escherichia coli infections of KHZ in a glass of herbal tea, put it on the transmitter, and wait for 30 minutes to finish, and then drink the water. Pang, okay. So only with imprinted water.
Well, and when you, because you can upload it also with the Hunter, is that the same effect when you upload it with Spooky or with the Hunter?
You strengthen the effect. So if you create an ampulla with the Hunter and put it on the receiver of the scalar boxes, yeah, you have way more power.
Okay.
The power of the Hunter is very subtle. This one is, much more power, much more power. But the thing is that the power of the plasma device is one step up. But I use that only in case of emergency for exceptional bacteria or maybe a tumor.
Okay.
But even then, between the sessions, for a tumor patient, I do remote.
Okay.
And that's what you can do also with the scalar boxes. Let's say you give someone, let's say, a weekly session of 2 hours, and then doing the rest remote. Because a weekly session is also a kind of regimen. You have to sit down, you have to come and sit down.
Yeah.
You have limitation of your mobility and time. The nice thing, however, to do remote is that you can work also with the scalar remote. Yeah, dus you can do here blood. Yeah, you can put the blood slide on the transmitter and then treat the patient remotely. And this is even stronger than the standard remote. But I have to admit that even the small remote, I love it. You can do with one single drop of blood a lot in a few hours. Amazing.
Yeah, I only have the remote, so I cannot do anything else.
Well, because these scalar boxes are multiple purpose, I would suggest that this is the next step up. Yeah, and it is a sturdy box, solid. It doesn't break. A glass tube can break. If you have a dog or a cat that bumps into the machine, it could break. But this one is unbreakable.
Then I don't need the tube. I have 2 cats.
No, I love these boxes.
Okay.
I own, I think I own 3 of those sets.
Yeah, I still have to learn how to work with them.
Here, presets. Start from the beginning. Shell empty presets. Scalar. Scalar general. Yeah, so you can do scalar general, but even in that case, you can do also JW peptides, scalar, and then all the settings of all the peptides are adjusted to the settings of the scalar boxes. The nice thing is if you take a look at the settings, it is downsized in the frequency range below 50,000, which comes into the audio spectrum. And that's nice because all the peptides were tested only with loudspeakers.
And when you use the peptides, you don't need the wobble, the amplitude wobble.
I've done with and without, but
And
it
no
doesn't
difference.
now because it's 1 single second. But if you do a wobble in 1 single second, how many frequencies can you run in 1 second?
Yeah.
That makes the things more complex than needed. Yeah, so if you run Peptides, I do it without wobble.
Okay. Ja.
Kan ik nog een vraag stellen, Ron? I have a question. With the remote, you take programs, the peptide programs, and the summary is then about maybe 15 minutes. But when you let the remote recycle again and again and again, and then it is working for 1 day, maybe 2 days, I suppose that's not quite okay. And when it's not quite okay, why not?
Like any other kind of therapy, you need to give the body some rest.
Yeah.
I have also a bipon machine, but if I have a patient, I do not need to give him therapy all day long, 24/7.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because he gets tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like listening to an opera.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you run the same record over and over and over and over again,
Yeah.
you get bored, you get tired.
Yeah.
So for that reason, I never use a program longer than 2 days. But I must admit that in the beginning, I did try to run a program for longer than 3 months.
Yeah.
And it was still effective, without hurt in my head, without any pain, without any side effect.
Yeah.
So you can, but on the long run, I would suggest that I give somebody from time to time a break.
That's a good answer on my question, and it's quite logic. And I have run most of the time longer, so days and sometimes 1 week. But I now understand that's not smart. Yeah.
Well, if you do, you can do it for a long time, but then please reduce the voltage to something like 5 or less volts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will it also depends on the type of program? What type of part of the body you use it for?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, if somebody has a chronic disease, then it needs more time. And then maybe you give 1 day on, 1 day off, 1 day off, and 1 day on.
Mhm.
Make a cycle, but
then
include some rest in the cycle.
It's not programmable, I think, that you can do 1 day on,
Sure.
1 day off, or is it programmable?
Of course, you can program anything you like.
Hmm.
Here. Pause, 1 day.
Yeah. You made it yourself.
No, it is available in every program.
Okay, in every program. But
Pause.
is that so?
Yeah.
We program it, and what do you mean a program?
Simply type in the program tab the word pause
Okay.
with S, not in the Dutch spelling, with
Yeah.
Z, but with S.
With S, yeah. Oh, that's good. I never knew.
You see, then we can have a break for 1 hour.
Yeah.
For a whole day. And if you need to give somebody half a day, which of course is 1 hour is 3,600, 1 day, 864. No, so you divide here.
Yeah.
You can make your own program.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's
Here.
very interesting too. Yeah.
Ron, if I understand it correctly, when you use the peptide programs, then you use them short. And when you use the other programs, you can run it for days.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
But the peptides, you use it short.
The running time of every frequency is short.
Yeah.
You can see here, if I had, for example, diabetes, let's say I want to have diabetes prevention, and then do here control, stop, override. Then you can see any frequency is running only 1 single second. I hope that you will be satisfied for this afternoon.
It's so interesting. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, oh, I just forgot to share my last few slides. I have on 16 October and 23 October a few other full day workshops for Spooky. Yeah, so if you're interested, let me know. And if you want to see the upload of the session of today, this is my channel. Simply go to YouTube and type my name. So that's me. So you can see that I already did create a few videos.
Okay.
But because I am 73 now, before I die, I hope to upload a lot of things for the public. I would suggest that you have a nice week for today.